Hello, people. You're welcome to ProUp Masterclass. My name is Tola T.A. Alabi. And in today's class, I'm going to be talking about something very important and very dear to my heart, something I'm very passionate about, which is identity, finding yourself as a human being. And this class was basically inspired by two conversations I had, one with my wife and one with one of my mentees who runs a business. And I think I'll start with the one conversation I had with one of my mentees. Now, a few weeks ago, I met with one of my mentees, and we got talking, and I was asking him about his business, which he normally updates me about. And he made a statement that caught my attention. He said he always, when it gets towards the end of the month, like when it gets to the 20th of the month and he sees like it just has a couple more days before the end of the month, he starts having some kind of anxiety, and it's hard for him to sleep, hard for him to concentrate. He just gets very jittery, and he said the reason is because he realizes at that time he needs to pay his workers, and that puts a lot of stress on him because he's now thinking of how to make the money to pay his workers. And because he's a very honorable person, he doesn't want to owe his workers. He wants to pay them as at when due before the month ends. The last week of the month, he wants to make sure they have their salaries, and that causes a lot of stress for him just to make sure that they are paid. And sometimes he doesn't have anything for himself at the end of the month, but he prioritizes his workers to pay them. But just this agitation to I need to get their money together causes him a lot of stress. And he said because of that, he's not enjoying the work he's doing. He's not enjoying the business. And I got to ask him, what does he really enjoy doing? He says he enjoys writing, he enjoys reading, and but then he's like he can't work with that can't create any work for him, but that's what he loves doing. The business for him causes him some stress, although he likes the fact that he's able to give value to people, and able to create work for jobs. But then when it gets to that end of the month, it's very pressure filled for him, and that conversation stuck in my mind for a very long time. And I think some days later, I was like talking with my wife, and she was scrolling through her phone, and she saw a video of a woman who has like a big warehouse, selling a particular product, and the woman was talking about filling like you know, containers from China to be shipped to Nigeria with her product, and my wife was just has been following her for a long time and really admires the way the woman is building her business and is able to order for goods and sell goods and make a profit. And my wife was like, I just wish I could do something like that, like something, something just this big, and just build a business and really sell stuff and, make a profit on it and stuff like that. And she was like, I just wish I could do that. I wish that were me. And I told my wife, I said, but that's not you. And I really feel you need to stop following these people on Instagram. People that sell stuff like this, have big businesses, sell stuff, their warehouse, they sell shoes, sell bags, sell this. You need to stop following them because they are not you. And that brings me to the topic of today. Today, I want to talk to you about minds, merchants, and magicians. Minds, merchants, and magicians. And as I said, today is about identity, finding out who you are. And the truth of the matter is, a human being can never find happiness till he finds out who he or she is, till you find out who you are. It's one of your biggest tasks in the world to find who you are. It's hard to love yourself if you don't know what's special about you. And I dare to say, there's something special about every single person. And that's why I took some time to think about this subject matter: minds, merchants, and magicians. because I realized that most of us fall into one of these three categories. We are either minds, merchants, or magicians. Most of us fall into one of these three categories. We're either minds, merchants, or magicians. And I would try to explain what are the qualities of each of these categories. And as you listen to this, I want you to think about who you are. Very important. Think about who you are and try to get some clarity about who you are. Now, I must say this. We all have a little bit of each in us. So we are not absolutely one. At least most of us are not absolutely one. We are a larger percentage of one, and we might have other of these attributes in lesser percentages, but then we are a higher percentage of one, and it's very, very important to be aware of which one you are a higher percentage of. And I will start with minds. It's important for me to start with minds because I believe that this is where I belong. Minds are people who spend a lot of their time thinking. They thrive by thinking and developing thoughts. Minds, a lot of times, are seen as teachers. They're seen as counselors, advisors, guides. They thrive by thinking. They thrive on their mind. They like to be in their mind. They assess things and think about it and think of how to improve things. They question things a lot. And that's why when you see a mind, and when I say mind, mind, you see them as wise people. You see them as insightful people. And there are a lot of minds out there. There are a lot of expressions of people who are minds. So you see them a lot teaching. A lot of people that write books are minds. Writers are minds. Teachers are minds. You people with podcasts like myself, they are minds. So you see them. There are quite a number of them out there. I didn't know I was a mind till pretty recently when I dabbled into creating content on YouTube, and I realized people started asking me questions. And I realized it was so easy for me to answer questions because there were things I'd reflected on way before the questions were asked. So I'd asked myself these questions, and I'd developed a method of answering questions easily. It was easy for me, it was second nature. I didn't need to take time to answer questions and be articulate about answering questions and giving people clarity. And you see, you can be a mind in any field. I'm not saying you're a general mind. For me, when it comes to life, business, relationship, I'm a mind. Some people, their minds when it comes to science. Some people, their mind when it comes to children. Some people, their minds when it comes to education. But you know that it's for you, you spend a lot of mind space in that area, and you want to educate people and enlighten people. You have a lot of insightful thoughts. And sometimes you don't even have to go to school. The regular person might need to go and develop their mind. The person who is a born mind just has incredible thoughts. They can go to school and enhance it, but then the thoughts are there. You understand? It's God given. They have natural spiritual insight into particular subject matters, their mind. And you have to think, is that you? Do you enjoy reading? Do you enjoy spending time by yourself, thinking, assessing, observing people, asking why people act in particular ways, thinking of how to improve? You understand? Human behavior, human thinking. If you are that person, you are a mind. It's a great gift to be a mind. It is a great gift to be a mind. And there was an era in the world when minds were at the forefront of the world. The You see, the early civilizations, early eras of man when you look at the Egyptian era, you look at the Babylonian era, you look at the Greek Empire, was largely centered on minds. And you see, then a man was judged by the quality of his thinking. And so, if you could think deeply and have great thoughts and interesting questions, you were highly regarded by society. Those were the people that ruled society very, very early on. It was a very much cherished gift then. And that's why when you think about it, when you think of all the quotes that we have today, most of the quotes that we refer to, a lot of them were made several thousands of years ago, either by Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, different people, you understand, a lot of them early era, some of them by early Chinese philosophers. So philosophy was highly revered then. The mind was highly revered as a person. And so if you're a mind, you want to think, are you a mind? Is that what comes to you easily? It's very important to know if you're a mind. The second category of people are merchants. Merchants. And a merchant is somebody who thrives on exchange. And we might call it selling. But a lot of times we have this misconception that a merchant is about money. It's not really. A merchant thrives on exchange of value. It's someone that cannot ignore value. Once they look at something, they're able to assess the value very easily. You understand? They're able to evaluate something, and they're interested in the value getting to the right person. So they just don't evaluate things. They're interested in making sure that the value gets to the right person at the right time. You understand? So they are value people. They are value people. So they are looking at things, so they can look at it and oh man, you might discard something, but they look at it and they're like, why did this person discard this thing? This thing is still very useful. It just takes a little bit of cleaning up. Somebody still needs this thing. You understand? And they're able to look deeply at something and look at the intrinsic value of something. They're able to articulate and estimate the value of something precisely, and they're able to get it in the hands of the right people. That's the merchant. The merchant is value driven, and this makes them put themselves in a place of transaction very easily. And that's why we think they're about money, but money is not what the merchant is driven by. It's the value. And a lot of times, because they're able to exchange value, money is able to exchange hands. So merchants deal with money a lot. And some of us are natural merchants. Natural. From very young, we look out and we just see that, oh, there's a mango tree in my house. That should be worth something. You understand? And people like mango. Mango is sweet. I'm sure if I put it out there, someone would come and want to buy this mango. And this is a 6-year-old talking. A lot of times we dismiss it. This person likes money too much. No, it's not about the person liking money. It's value. They look everywhere and they see value in things. And they see people who are ready to exchange value for value. Very important. They are connectors of value. And it comes to us easily. So it comes to some people easily. And these are the people that my wife was looking at then on social media that were like running businesses, and they were excited about running businesses, and they can travel far and wide just to get value to come and give it to someone else. You understand? For them, it's not stressful. For the mind likes solitude. It likes people to come to him or her. It likes people to come to you with their questions. But the merchant likes to go out and go to people. You understand? The merchant likes to go out and go to people and connect people. That's what the merchant likes. You understand? So you have to think, are you a merchant? Are you someone that you can't just help but see the value of something? You understand? You just can't help but just calculate this is worth so much. You understand? Someone just thinks you're just so particular about money, but it's not about the money, it's the value. It irks you when valuable things are wasted. You understand? You are a merchant. It's very important to be a merchant. And you see, there was an era after the era of the mines that merchants became very important. And this happened a lot during the Roman Empire, when the Roman Empire came to the fore. Now, the Romans were not great thinkers like the Greeks. They were fighting men. They were men who liked plunder. So what the Romans would do is that they would survey a place and look at them and say, what do they have? And look at the value of their land. Look at the value of their this. Look at the value of their raw materials, and then they will attack them, attack such civilizations, and take over them and take what they think is of value. So the Romans were all about value and being rich. They were very materialistic people, you understand? But they couldn't see something go away. And that's what caused their destruction, their need for material things, and caused them to have infighting. But then they couldn't ignore value. They were merchant type people, and either they took it by force or they had you give it to them. You understand? And so it was a very rich empire, and that's why it lasted a pretty long time. It was a very rich empire, and they used that to buy knowledge and buy this, but they were about value, and they kind of watered down the era of the mind. You understand? They kind of watered down. They made the world about how much you had, how prosperous you were, and so the world kind of took that, and that's what became more or less Western civilization, where a man was now judged by the size of his wallet, not by the quality of his thinking per se anymore, but how much he had. And that mindset to span a long time into what we call the European mindset and the Western mindset, and it kind of came down into the 1990s, that far down, where you would realize that people were rated by how much the companies were making. You understand? So you see, there was a Forbes list, the world's richest man. You see, the world wasn't really concerned about who the richest man. There was no richest man list in the earlier centuries. You understand? But when the Romans took over, it was like who had more money, and that kind of slipped down into recent times, where we are all about top richest men in the world, top 10 richest men, top 10 richest this, top 10 richest that. And you see, that was the era of the merchants. You understand? So we look like companies that have made the most profits, most income. So we look at, oh, Apple is making this much, Microsoft is making this much, Amazon is making this much. So we were looking at merchants, and then that became the value system of the world. Everybody wanted to become a merchant. You understand? So it was like, how big is your company? What is your valuation? How much are you making? You understand? And that was very popular up to very recently, which I'm going to come to very soon. But then the point I'm trying to make is that some people are merchants. They are good at spotting value, and they are good at selling value, and they are good at connecting people that have value. You understand? And some of you are merchants, and there's nothing wrong with being a merchant. But then there's a third category of people who I call magicians. Magicians. And magicians are people that they thrive on showing and displaying. They have a skill that they can show and display. Now, unlike the mind, a lot of what the mind has is inside their head. You can't know a mind unless you talk with them. But a magician, a lot of what they have is something they can fully express. They can express it. It is almost tangible. It's tangible. It's more tangible than the expression of what's in your mind. It's a tangible expression of something. It's a skill. A lot of times we call it a talent today. So you say, oh, this person is talented. It's something they can do. And so it's almost like going to the circus. So you see someone juggling a ball, someone wrestling an elephant, someone carrying this, someone walking a tightrope. That's what we call magic. You understand? The magician, remember, the mind likes people coming to him to ask questions. The merchant likes to go to people, you understand, to sell value, you understand. So they like marketing, they like going to people. But the magician likes to gather people. You understand? He likes to make a spectacle. He wants people to come and see, not to ask questions. Come and see what I can do and how well I can do it. So a lot of people that you might think of as a magicians might be dancers. You know how to dance. It's not in your head. You don't. A dancer cannot say I'm a good dancer because I dance well in my head. Most people dance well in their head. I'm a great dancer in my head. Terrible dancer in reality. You understand? But then a dancer is a magician. Sometimes you look at people dance and you're like, how is she doing that? How is he doing that? That's incredible. I never even knew you could bend that joint in that direction. You understand? Just like it's almost like hypnotic when you watch a magician do what they're doing. You understand? Someone that can dance is a magician. Someone that can sing is a magician. Sometimes acting is a magician. You see, not a lot of times acting is a magician. Actors are magicians. So when you see someone acting, like how they act so well? How can the person get to cry? You see, they give you goosebumps when you see them doing what they're doing. Acting, playing a particular sport, they are magicians. They're able to express a particular skill they have, and by just expressing it, people just stop what they are doing to watch them. And they leave thinking that was incredible. I don't know how that person did that, but it's incredible. And the truth is, we're in the era of the magician right now. And social media has fostered that. This magician thing is it's something that has really been propagated by what the empire that is not really called an empire anymore, but it's an empire if you're going to look at it, by the American empire, where entertainment value has risen. And it's not a bad thing, you understand? It's a great thing. And that's why social media thrives on magicians. You go to social media and see people showing different kind of skills, what they can do. You see someone drawing with 2 hands, someone drawing with their feet, you see someone who can put their tongue through their nose, different things. There's almost nothing I haven't seen people do on social media. Someone who can talk to dogs, someone who can talk to cats, someone who can, carry really heavy things. The whole world is like a big giant circus, a big giant circus that we all attend every single day, full of magicians. There are so many magicians. Now we have all these people on social media. We have minds, we have merchants, and we have magicians, but it's overwhelmingly full of magicians. Social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook is rewarding mostly magicians. Magicians are the ones that get the endorsements and the brand influencing. You understand? They're magicians. They're able to do really incredible things, and that's why this is the era of breaking records. And the people are breaking records, the Guinness Book of Records. People are doing things for long hours and saying, wow, how is he able to do that? How was she able to do that? They are magicians. And it's great. And you need to think, do you have a skill that makes you a magician? Something you really can do that you realize people and say, how are you doing that? Do you understand? How do you sing so effortlessly and really can sing at this very high pitch? How are you able to dance so good? How are you able to draw, you understand, with such little effort? How are you able to carve something? You understand? How are you able to design clothes? You got to think about it. Are you a magician? Those are the 3 categories we would find ourselves. You're either a mind, a merchant, or a magician. But the challenge people have are the eras we are in. Because, the world rotates, both physically and spiritually. Things go round. So there was a time for the minds, there was a time for the merchants. I believe we're in the time of the magician. But the error people make is that people try to conform to the times rather than staying and being true to who they are. So I see a lot of people who are minds trying to be merchants. A lot of people who are merchants trying to be magicians. A lot of people who are magicians trying to be minds. People are now convinced about what makes money. So even though we're in an era of the magician where value is about how many people you can gather, not really about how much you're making anymore. The most important person is the one that can gather most people. So look at what's their followership. That's what's being rewarded today. We've moved from the era of the merchant. So how many people you can gather? People now think that I need to be a magician, and that's why when I was talking to this person in my mentoring group, my mentee, I can see from talking to him that he's a mind, but then he's running a business and trying to be a merchant. He's running a business like a merchant. And that's why at the end of the month, he's having heart palpitations, because he's doing something that contrasts and conflicts with his own personal values, with his own personal skills. He's not good at that exchange of value that allows him to make money as a merchant easily. You see, someone who is a true merchant, at the end of the month, they're excited. They're excited by the challenge of, I need to go out and sell this value so that I can pay my staff. It doesn't give them heart palpitation. It gives them a rush. A merchant might be bored if you leave him in a room to think. He might be bored. You understand? He'll be like, this is the most boring thing I've ever done. But a mind would love it. You understand? A merchant might not have a physical skill that gathers people, but is able to see skills in others and say, you know what, I know one guy, I will introduce you to him if you can pay me this much. That excites him. That's able to connect and get paid to do that. You see, once we know who we are, we will stop having those heart palpitations. A lot of the heart palpitations and depression we have is because we are trying to be someone who we are not. We're trying to take on an identity that is not us. And that is the biggest problem. Minds are not owning who they are anymore. Sometimes I struggle with it, and I'll be very honest with you. Being in mind in an era of magicians can be very intimidating. Sometimes you feel your life is so slow. Sometimes you see the magician, you put up a post and you see the magician gather 100,000 people when you are struggling to gather 100 people to read your post. But it's not about that. The true reason why we were created was to give glory to God. And what gives glory to God is mastery. Mastery is what God created us for. To master what He has given us. So if God made me a mind, God put in me the seed of a master that is only activated when I use my mind. If God made me a merchant, God gave me the seed of a master that can only be activated when I see value and try to sell value. If God made me a magician, God put in me a great seed that is only activated when I use this incredible skill that awes people. Why God wants us to be masters is because when we are masters as a mind, what happens is you teach people, and in the end, people come back to God and say, thank God for this level of clarity that this person gave to me. When you are a master as a merchant and you're able to connect people with incredible value, people come back to God and say, God, thank you, because I spent money and I got value for my money. I'm enjoying this thing I have. When you use your ability as a magician and makes you a master, people are able to see what you are doing and they're able to think to themselves, there must be a God. Only God can do this thing that this person is doing. There must be something out there. And that's why God gives us every single thing we have, so that it brings glory to Him. But it only brings glory to Him when we use it and we become masters at using it. So when a mind tries to be a merchant, he becomes a mediocre merchant. He becomes a troubled merchant, and that doesn't bring people to God. In fact, it brings people away from God. You understand? So he says, oh, life is so hard. There's nothing. I'm alone in this life. See how this person is suffering. I'm sure there's no God. When a merchant compromises who he is to try to be a mind or a magician, he becomes a mediocre at it, and that doesn't reflect God. So what I'm telling you is whatever you are, forget the era, own it, become a master, and in owning it, God will bless you. He will bless you. And I hope someone gets some clarity from today's class. I really hope it brings somebody some much needed clarity, because I know a lot of people struggle with it. This self-comparison, saying, I want to be a mind. And then you see people who don't spend so much time thinking, trying to write deep stuff, and it falls below par. You see people trying to run businesses who are scared of being owed money, scared of charging. You understand? The truth of the matter is, personally, I, I ran a company for a very long time, and man, even though I made money, it was always hard making money. It was always hard charging. It was always hard being owed money. It was always hard. It was always hard. You understand? Because it wasn't who I was. There was a percentage of me that was a merchant, but it wasn't strong enough percentage. And being in mind right now has really helped me to connect with more people and build stronger relationships and be blessed by God. God blesses you when you use what He gives you and become a master with what He gives you. And the truth is that we all work together. So you might say, I'm a mind, I want to build a company. Yes, it can happen. But just remember that you need a merchant. Find somebody who is a merchant. It might be your brother, your sister, your friend, your mother. Find them. They're around you. Collaborate. You need a magician. Someone who can go on that social media and wow people with doing what it is, whatever it is you're doing, you understand, that can call that attention, that can be the face of your brand. Do you understand? Magician. You need them. And you can be the mind behind it that instructs and is tactical. It's just like sports. I think that puts it all together very nicely. It's just like, see, I used to watch football. I don't watch it as much anymore. But one interesting thing about football, it has these three people: the minds, the magicians, and the merchants. So the minds were the coaches. The coaches were the minds. They never went on the field to play, but they always went after the game and watched the game and thought, what can we do? How can we do this thing? What strategy can we use to get the best out of this team? And they see in the players what the players do not see themselves. They see the invisible game. They are the mind. Then you have the merchants. The merchants, most of the time, are the owners of the club. And some of them are the scouts. You understand? But they own the club. The owners of the club. They have the money. Sometimes they don't even spend time watching the game. You understand? They might not watch the game. But what they see is, there's this player in Spain that needs to come to Europe. He's a good player. We need him in our team. You understand? He's saying the right price, or we can get him to say the right price. We can get him for the right price. They thrive on those things. They thrive on it. They're the merchants. Then you have the magicians. Those are the ones we see. They do the dribbles, score the goals, do the fancy celebrations. They're the ones that attract us. But without any of these people, there will be no football team. That's how life is. They're all important. And in the end, when they all come together as masters, that's why we have brilliant, incredible teams that do incredible things. And that's the way the world should work. So I want to encourage you today, if you are listening to this, find out who you are. Remember, you might be a little bit of something, but find out where the majority of your propensity lies. Do you understand? Are you a mind? Are you a merchant? Or are you a magician?